In this video, I will cover the installation of a single switch brilliant light switch replacing a single pole switch in my guest bedroom. Before getting started with the installation, it's important for you to know that there are two types of light circuits your Brilliant control is compatible with: single and multi-way. To figure out the difference between single and multi-way, simply check to see if your lights are controlled by one light switch, like in my guest bedroom, or multiple light switches like in my stairway and upstairs hallway. Not everyone's home wiring is the same. This mostly will vary by the type and age of the wiring in your home. This is important because some older homes do not come equipped with a neutral wire. The installation of Brilliant requires your home to be outfitted with neutral wires in the gang box. If you do not have a neutral wire, you need to contact an electrician to see what your options are. I won't be covering everything in the video. If you need additional help, check out the other links in the support section of Brilliant's website. There's a lot of helpful information there. To get started, here's some tools you might need. Wire cutter. Number 2, Phillips screwdriver. Flathead screwdriver. And pliers for straightening and tight places. To open the Brilliant packaging, slide off the sleeve. The first thing you'll see is the faceplate. Beneath the faceplate is the manual. Keep this. It'll be very useful during the installation process. Next is the Brilliant base where the faceplate connects. Finally, you'll see spare wires and wire nuts located in the box. These usually won't be needed. My guest bedroom has a single switch, single pole configuration, meaning it's the only switch that controls the ceiling lights in this room. Next, I'll access my power breaker and turn off the specific breaker switch for my guest bedroom light. Check your light switch to ensure no power is active before proceeding with removing your switch. Now, I'll use the flathead screwdriver to remove the switch cover. With the faceplate removed, I will now use the Phillips screwdriver to pull out the switch from the gang box. Now is a good time to take a few photos of your wiring to help you remember which wires go where. Be sure to grab a couple different angles. I'm going to unscrew the wires. I prefer to leave the ground wire for last. I was having some difficulty, so I used my needle nose pliers to help free the wires from the old switch. With the switch free of wires, I can now set the old switch aside. Now I can identify my wires. I have bare copper ground, sometimes housed in green shielding, black line and load, and white neutral cluster. I can now grab the Brilliant base and will start by inserting my bare copper ground wire. Sometimes these are housed in green shielding. Insert the ground wire into the terminal hole and tighten the green screw. Next, I want to take the exposed wire and make sure they are not too long so as to prevent potential shorts. The Brilliant base has a great diagram to check the length while trimming. Use your pliers to make sure these are nice and straight before inserting into the terminal holes on the base. Now we will insert the black line and load into the base. Know that it doesn't matter which wire I put into L1 or common for a single pole because Brilliant can switch between both automatically. So I just screw them in. The final wire is my neutral wire. I can see in my gang box I have a cluster of neutral wires secured with a red wire nut. I'm going to use the white wire extension provided in the Brilliant box. Normally, I would use the small yellow wire nut if I had less wires, but in this case, I'll be using the existing red wire nut to attach them to the existing cluster of neutral wires. I prefer to screw the neutral wire into the terminal of the Brilliant base first before inserting it into my neutral wire cluster. Simply insert the white extension alongside the existing neutral wires and twist the red wire nut clockwise until tight. Before inserting the Brilliant base, check that all your wires are in the proper place, the screws are tight, and give the wires a tug to make sure they are secure. Because this is a single pole switch, I did not remove the 3-way circuit sticker. This is reserved for multi-way installation. Next, I'm going to make sure these wires push back into the gang box. And as I press the base into the gang box, I can see that all the wires are still connected. I will use the screwdriver to align and secure the base to the gang box. For the little retention pieces here, best practice is to tighten until the strain relief depresses, and not back out. It will tend to deform with pressure, and it may be too loose if you back out. It is calibrated to an appropriate amount of tightness when it depresses slightly. Next, I'll go to the breaker and switch the power back on. Press the white button to check that the lights are now working. Sure enough, they turn on. I'll press one more time to turn them back off. Now I know that the base is installed the right way. Last is to take the faceplate and align the 6 notches on the back. Then, firmly press down on the top of the faceplate until it clicks. You'll know when the Brilliant is successfully installed when the screen is illuminated. You can now peel off the sticker and proceed to configure your Brilliant. That's all there is to it. If you are installing a 2, 3, or 4 switch plate, I'll be covering the installation of those soon.